Before we start the episode, I just want to give you a quick warning. We're talking about Elon Musk and Andrew Tate. So there's obviously quite a few mentions of grooming gangs and sexual exploitation, so be advised.
Hello and welcome back to Podcasting as Praxis 2025. I'm Dave, my pronouns are he and him.
I'm Jamie, my pronouns are he and him.
And I'm Rob, mine are he and him.
And to start us off with a special announcement. Rest in piss, Jean-Marie Le Pen.
Yeah. Gotta say though.
So again.
Very courteous of them to die the morning of a recording.
Yeah.
Yes, no, good timing.
Yeah.
Other fascists take note.
Yeah. Please, yeah, or just in general about, deceasing, meeting your maker, all of that noise. No, good riddance, you fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, the key thing to remember about the timing is do it now, not do it at the start of the week. But if you can do it at the start of a week, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, if you're, a large-scale fascist that, we want to see dead even more, cock it on a Monday so we can prepare some show notes about it. Tuesday morning, at the very latest, ideally, The DMs are appreciated. Are you a fascist about to die? Let us know so we can celebrate.
It only takes me 2 minutes to go and find the Egyptian Army brass band, but it takes longer for Rob to write a fucking obituary, so...
Yeah, that does take a little while. Anyway, he doesn't deserve it, I hope your family's sad. I hope your family follows you. It's all in the game. Get fucked.
Yeah.
Wasn't fucking Marine Le Pen too busy,
crashing a boat?
Fully committing to her fucking namesake and being in a Marine.
I read something about this, but I don't fucking remember it, if I'm very, very honest. I had some time off and I tried not to look at the news for a bit, And then all of a sudden I saw colours and butterflies and I saw that the world was beautiful. And then I started reading the news again and then it's like, oh no. And essentially because I started reading the news again, I thought... There's we don't do much of a theme in these episodes, but if there's anything that puts this episode together, is just my enduring fucking hatred of AI and how 2025 has really just started off with a fucking banger in almost every respect. But specifically, there was a good piece.
Is this sorry, Rob? Is this the theme that we're pivoting to now? Because if we're pivoting away from me being made to suffer, then I'm all for it.
No. I mean, also there are
Borderlands
other,
next week.
Oh,
yeah,
Borderlands. Continue, is it? We're not doing fucking Borderlands.
Yeah, we are. It's 2-1, waving, baby.
Fucking not. It's not 2-1. Your vote doesn't count.
Okay, I voted twice.
Exactly.
I'm afraid it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. The podcast
we live
bylaws
in an autocracy, actually.
The podcast bylaws don't mandate voter ID, so JB could just do that twice. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, so where I wanted to start today and, this year's was a good piece by Jason Keebler on 404 Media, which overall is something worth reading. This is about, new levels of AI shit being injected into, already dying and shitty social media platforms. Instagram has begun testing a feature in which Meta's AI will automatically generate images of users in various situations and then put those into the user's feed.
Really just trying to fucking say, no, Rocco's basilisk is real. Look, look what it'll do to you.
It's like one step away from, you know what I've been getting again recently in my spam folder is those emails that are like, you have to pay me because I know what video do you watch alone, and if you don't want me to share them. It's like that, but this time it'll just be fucking Mark Zuckerberg telling you like, look, if you don't do this, I have your photoshopped head on a dog, and like that, you know, take it from there. No, quote again from the piece. One Redditor posted over the weekend that they were scrolling through their Instagram and were presented with an AI-generated slideshow of themselves standing in front of, quote, an endless maze of mirrors, for example.
Wow.
Cool.
The future is here.
Yeah.
Why is this specifically fucking tuned to like affect me as a jump scare? The only thing I don't want to see more than a picture of me that wasn't ever taken is a picture of me surrounded by reflections of me.
I think though, I saw the image in question, and I don't think the guy had reflections.
No. It is, you know, so it's either AI slop or it's, you know, a vampire check, in which case I think it's actually really useful.
Nosferatu's basilisk.
You know, basically what had happened is like this particular person, this Redditor, had previously uploaded a picture of himself into Meta's Imagine, which is the AI image slop generator that, you know, that Meta owns.
Okay.
And now Instagram was reflecting the user like back in himself, you know, inside the endless funhouse of David's worst nightmares. And basically what you could then do, like, it only shows you the image, like it doesn't show anybody else on your timeline. But you can, like, I don't know, I don't have a fucking Instagram, but like you can repost it into your own timeline and thereby, you know, filling all your friends' timelines with more AI slop, but this time involving people that they somewhat know. Making literally everything possible worse in all the possible ways.
But have you considered,
would you like to know what it would look like if you were painted on the side of the waltzers?
Arnold Schwarzenegger, I assume. The thing is, though, like if AI isn't shoved at us from every conceivable angle, it might not catch on, and if it doesn't catch on, a lot of fucking tech people are going to seem very embarrassed. So.
Yeah,
I guess just buckle up. You know what I mean? They paid a lot of money and burned a lot of rainforest for this tech, so you will fucking like be subjected to it, whether it's useful or not.
It's actually quite good though that they're really making this push on that you will be subjected to it because it's still shit and people can see that it's shit and they get hold of it very fucking quickly unless they've got that particular disease that makes their entire personality pivot around it.
Yeah. Have you seen the latest from Nvidia?
And the Blackwell thing.
Blackwell?
I haven't seen this. No.
That's their new graphics card thing, isn't it?
Oh, right, yeah. Okay, I didn't know they were called Blackwell. I was going to say the 50 fucking 90 or whatever the fuck it's called.
Oh, yeah, that's the one where you need to plug it into a small fucking sun just to run your computer into it.
Yeah, the new 5090 card, it requires a kilowatt to run, which is like fucking...
How many toasters can I run for that money, just out of like fucking curiosity?
At least 3 flux capacitors.
And yes, it is because of the AI on board. Like,
oh, for fuck's sake!
It's so good. I can't wait to see this in action. But basically, what they've done, what they've done is gone for like fucking, do you know what I mean? Incel virgin dollars. So there's an AI on the chip now that improves faces.
Oh, come on.
In games.
Oh, good. Oh, so you have your own like fucking AI upscaling horseshit, like, you know.
Well, I mean, there's also some stupid shit where it draws an extra 6 frames for every 1 frame that's like rendered, so that it can do like 7 times the frame rate or whatever. And it's like, why?
But my eyes can't even conceive that many frames. Like, it's just,
I know.
No.
But it also specifically has a thing that will like improve faces to make them look like, presumably it's AI, so presumably more like waifus. So never again will you be subjected to woke chin.
Yeah.
Excellent. What if a chin had tits?
Yeah.
It's fucking bullshit that they preload your computer with these fucking wee gremlins now. It used to be back in my day, you had to actively go online and search for Bonzi Buddy if you wanted to fuck up your time on the computer.
Yeah.
Finally, I will no longer ever be subjected to any female on my screen with like a cup size under H or whatever. Like, just
fucking unreal.
fucking.
I'm so tired of these cunts. Why?
But also like the auto upscaling of like faces. It's like all I'm thinking of is like, you remember when Rockstar like ruined the release, the remake of GTA Vice City and like the other ones by just having everything be AI upscaled and therefore shit. Yeah, what if just everything was that now?
Oh no, to be fair to Rockstar, and by be fair to Rockstar, I mean to be fair to the complete and utter fucking laziness they put into that entire project. They didn't do that. They simply paid someone else to do that, which is actually
that's right. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, but the one group of people who may actually, need a bunch of these Blackwell things is, of course, the Labour Party, because we can't not talk about that fucking TikTok ad. It was so deranged.
That was the most unforced an error has ever been, I think. Just the gold standard in like kick flipping a rake down some stairs and then like fucking taking yourself out when you land on it. Just absolute fucking. Because like, just the fact that the song, like when translated into English, is literally about grooming young girls. It's like, I mean, I assume whoever's running that social media account is a saboteur. There's no other like, you know what I mean? Because otherwise, it's like a script from the thick of it or something. It's just
Starmer's old photographer strikes again.
I know, it's too perfect. Like, I can't believe that happened accidentally.
He's back in AI form.
No, I mean, if you haven't seen it, and I wouldn't blame you if you hadn't, because like I think it's been like pulled at the speed of light at this point. Yeah. But
it took them a day. It took them a fucking day to pull it.
So somebody saved it, of course, somewhere. Like, you should be able to find it everywhere.
Oh, yeah,
your favorite social media hole. But like, it was essentially like
it's on our Discord. Join the Patreon.
Patreon.com/Cast. It was essentially like a quick series of flashes of like gigantic AI generated animals in various poses that were talking about like labor policy achievements.
I mean, you are overselling it to say that animals were talking about stuff. There was subtitles while the animals like fucking stood unnaturally. Yeah. Like the fucking rabbit from the caramel adverts was dressed as a nurse and like had arms that shifted between like human and rabbit and passed through each other and stuff. It was...
and also why
the Cadbury's bunnies let us go.
Yeah. And also, not to put too fine a point on it, but why did the NHS rabbit also have tits? Like,
because it's an AI, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, if you go to an AI and you type in the word nurse, guess what you're getting a pair of?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I saw some people speculating that they did that with AI to try and ingratiate themselves with Elon Musk, and it's like, yeah, come on. Do you really think the guy running the fucking TikTok account has any fucking like interactions at all with the people in charge of the party? They did that with AI because if they'd done it with humans, the Daily Mail would have like complained about them being woke for having like, you know what I mean, non-white people in it. And if they'd made everyone white, everyone else would have complained about like, why is everyone in this video white? So they did it with animals to sidestep like fucking that particular issue. And then, wouldn't you know it, the Daily Mail like shat bricks all over them anyway. So well done, lads.
Yeah, as did the Telegraph, as did the Times, and as did everybody fucking else. Because
just an absolutely fucking like perfect example of how you manage the media. Not like that horrible Jeremy Cromley and his fucking left-wing goons who were just always getting bad press. No, this is a real professional. They call him Mr. Rules, did you know? And he can draft a memo. He can draft a memo. He can fucking whatever the other thing was they said, and he can like
chair a meeting, and he
chair a meeting. That was it. Absolutely wipe out his own nutsack with a rake.
And he can AI generate a bulldog wearing like a traditional police helmet.
Oh yeah, I mean that was so unsettling. That like the fucking undulating meat hound. That they just like spawned from the mountains of madness and put in a fucking policeman's helmet. It's like, yeah, that looks great. Like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I believe
No,
the
whatsoever.
correct breed was a flaps hund.
Yes. I mean, I think my personal favorite was the gigantic cow building houses, which was just like, of all the
Oh, that was Minotaur Dave. I know him. One of the few brickies left working in the area.
He was one of the rare graduates of that drywall college you were at.
Yeah. Turns out his next job was in cyber.
Oh, fuck's sake. I mean, just genuinely, baffling behavior. And, to go back to your earlier point, JB, if this was done with the intention of, like, cozying up to Elon Musk and, like, the Silicon Valley freaks, I think the last few days has conclusively proven that was a world historic success, because no problems ever arose between Elon Musk and the Labour Party ever again.
Are we doing the saga of this fucking like stupid shit fight now? Cool.
It's mainly because, like, if this is the jumping off point for 2020-25, I don't even know where the fuck this year's going to end. Like, so again, if you've still been living in blessed holiday abstraction, Elon Musk has essentially now heard of the existence of grooming gangs and what was it, 2014, 2010? I can't remember the date.
Elon Musk finally logged into his Facebook page for the first time in 11 years. And then like was shocked by the news that he discovered within. Just absolutely speed running your da on Facebook.
It's wild to get this because it is proper blast from the past racism. I can't remember anyone giving a fuck about this since, like, I think Ed Miliband was in charge of Labour.
I don't think anyone's
to talk about.
I don't think anyone's really given a fuck about this since we had an inquiry into it and found out most of the perpetrators were white.
Well, there is that. I meant more from your Facebook Daz point of view. It's not something that I've really heard about. At least if I have heard about it, it's been like background radiation along the lines of Sadiq Khan knife crime or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've sort of pieced it together what the actual series of of existing events was that sort of perpetrated all this madness. So I think what happened was, like, in one of the councils where these grooming gang things did actually happen, Jess Phillips, who is the Minister for Women's Safeguarding, and, like, look, we've said plenty about Jess Phillips, and we'll say probably more in the future, but, like, I don't doubt her actual commitment to, like, women's safety. I think she's probably very sincere on that. As we've also said,
she is
some
up to
women,
a point,
but, like,
because for some women,
let's put it that way. But, like, and what happened is, like, instead of doing yet another inquiry at the national level, which we've already had, which makes no sense, she told one of the local councils to do, like, an inquiry, but do it at the local level because that would be quicker, and it would probably get more relevant results for that council than having a whole national one, all of which makes sort of sense. Of course, unless you're a baying idiot or a Facebook dad, and then it sounds like a cover-up of a much bigger scandal that's just been rummaging around in your brain, which then landed on Elon Musk's timeline because some fucking halfwit who runs some Twitter news service reposted it and said Labour is burying, a grooming gang inquiry, and that made it land on Elon Musk's desk, and then he proceeded to call Jess Phillips, quote-unquote, a rape genocide apologist.
Yeah. You say it landed on his desk, but Elon Musk is, like, the only person that I think uses the For You page on Twitter. So it probably just appeared in there because it's, like, relevant
also,
to your interests or whatever.
Also, in as far as I'm concerned, I bet, right, it's canon. He doesn't have a desk at Twitter. They make him use that fucking sink he brought into the building.
But yeah, essentially this whole
The reason that this all kicked off initially, by the way, like as a thing that kept coming up as a talking point, was the fault of a Labour MP. This was the thing that Sarah Champion kicked off about fucking years ago.
Oh yeah, holy shit, you're right.
Disappeared into obscurity. Yeah, this was her that started this being a thing that kept getting brought up because she kept insisting.
She wrote in the Sun, did she?
Talk about. She did, and she kept insisting that she should be allowed to say Pakistani grooming.
Yes, that was
specifically.
I remember
that.
that.
Yeah. It's not racist because, and it's like, shut the fuck up. Like, you're clearly wanting to just say that because of exactly who it involves. That's the only reason you're being so fucking uppity about this. But yeah, so that's why we're here, because of her.
Yeah, so this whole idea of a second inquiry, apart from that, we've had one and we probably don't need another one, it's being demanded by Reform and the Tories, not because they actually give a shit about child abuse. Look at the history of the Tory party, for example. But they just
don't ask what happened to the files under Thatcher's administration. Don't ask what happened to them.
What they just want to have is maybe not as well thought out as all of that, but I think they just want another Cass report that just affirms all their prejudices against Pakistanis or immigrants in general, and just says it is okay because the skull shape of the Pakistani man does make them more likely to deny our 14 words.
I don't even think it's that. I think that might be in the heads of some of them, but I think anyone in charge seriously asking about this is doing the thing where you ask for the thing that would be really incredibly not useful to your opponent, knowing that they won't do it because it would also be incredibly not useful to you. Any sort of, like you said, any sort of fucking big national look into things of that nature would be incredibly bad for pretty much every fucking political party in existence. They've all got links at the very least to people. I mean, I don't need to talk about people who go shopping for belts. That's the thing. I don't need to talk about lost files from previous fucking looks at this kind of stuff. There's all sorts of shit that is deeply dark and deeply fucking just awful that would put a lot of people in power into shit. So they'll never do anything actually useful on that front. At the best, they could organise some sort of fix where it would be, yes, look at this, the not racism report, etc., that actually says it's fine to say these things about these specific people, or it would be something that ran out of control and became deeply fucking damaging along the line, to the power of Leveson or higher, in potentia. So it's not something they'll ever do. They're only using it as a stick to beat the other side with at the moment. But if Reform ever get in, no chance. The only way they would do this shit is if, the weird timeline where Tommy Robinson is allowed into the party and he becomes Prime Minister, and he organises this.
The whole reason for bringing the grooming gangs back up is to not talk about the actual events that did happen that caused a number of communities incredible long lasting pain, right? That's not the reason to bring it up. Also because if I remember the original inquiry correctly, is part of the thing that they showed was that because of the people who were being abused, they went to the police very frequently and said there's something going on, and the police, being the police, just said, nah, don't give a shit. And then it turns out that the social workers also didn't give a shit. So the reason, I'm not saying that the people who did these horrible things didn't do horrible things, but it was part of a systemic failure. But the reason they want to bring it up, and it's like a fucking, the bobbing cork of British politics, is it's just a barely hidden dog whistle to talk about Muslims in the UK, to talk about race in the UK, to talk about immigration, because it's all it ties very neatly into Great Replacement Theory, 14 words, all that good old fashioned.
It's a thin end of a big wedge.
Yes.
The thing I'm waiting for though is because obviously Musk got started on this, and then someone fucking explained to him that when that Starmer was in charge of the DPP, when the crimes happened, and he went off about that, and then someone informed him as to who Jimmy Savile was, and he went off about that, And it's like, it's only a matter of time before he sees that photograph of Peter Mandelson. Because did they actually make Peter Mandelson ambassador to the US, or was that just a suggestion?
I think that's still the plan. I don't know if they've actually like filled in the paperwork, if you will.
Because like there'll come a point where someone shows like Musk that photo of fucking like Mandelson and Epstein shopping for belts, and then like, do you know what I mean? He's gonna go fucking like, do you know what I mean? He's gonna go off like a fucking car alarm, isn't he?
Yeah, I wonder about that, because every time you know, there is that famous picture of Musk with Ghislaine Maxwell, and every time you post that, like your accounts just get fully
but like
nuked from orbit. So I'm not entirely sure he wants to open.
He has a cover story for that, the same way like Trump just doesn't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean? Like, because the thing is, like, they don't care, right? Like, people fucking can post those pictures all they want, but it doesn't matter to them, because like it's not you know what I mean? Like, if the papers and the TV news were doing it, then they'd like fucking like complain. Do you know what I mean? Then they'd like actually be outraged or whatever. But people on Twitter, they just don't give a shit. Especially not now that he owns Twitter and he can just ban everyone quietly. But like, you know, push comes to shove, they'll just claim it's like AI fucking misinformation or something.
Yeah.
You know what I
the
mean?
trouble is that they've discovered that feelings don't care about your facts.
The other thing that sort of like blew this into an even stupider level of proportion than it already has been is that like the entire British media has been fully primed to like accept Elon Musk's verdict about British politics ever since like what's it been now, 2 maybe 3 weeks, that like Reform keeps threatening that they get or will get or have gotten £100 million from Musk to honestly, you know, become a big boy party.
Honestly, that fucking thing the other day where like fucking big Nigel fucking dipshit was on Koonsberg's politics thing, talking about how Elon Musk might give us the money, he might not, doesn't matter. Ooh, he's a good friend of mine and all this shit. And then like 20 minutes later, Musk was like, "Fuck this guy, he's too weak.
That was pretty good.
Have him killed."
Make Tommy Robinson,
I mean?
like,
yeah, and it's like fucking all right, like you played a blinder there, mate. But I hope they all just somehow stab each other to death at the same time.
I mean, and then of course, in response to all of this, which was, you know, at minimum, it was one of the world's richest men, like inciting stochastic terrorism against Jess Phillips, like who I dislike and wish would lose her job, but you know, I don't need her. You know, like that's there are differences. So in response, it was, of course, for time for the new Labour Party to sit on the fence, because what they, of course, perceive is that their hero voters in the Red Wall are all perceived to be insane Facebook uncles, essentially. Like, they're not that... So, the first one up to defend, also on Sunday, talking to Laura Koonsberg, speaking of... you know, after Wes Streeting did pipe up to defend Jess Phillips for a little bit, he did go on to say the following. This is a summary of that conversation on the BBC.
Oh, was this the bit where he said he was?
What?
Oh, okay, right, fine, fuck it then. I was getting excited there for a second, but.
Well, Wes Streeting said, quote, "The public is absolutely right to be angry about grooming gangs and to ask why there had not been a full public inquiry."
Fuck, there has though.
There has been, yeah.
Fuck. I mean, admittedly, in terms of Wes Streeting's crimes, this is like the fucking very like fucking bottom of the barrel. You know what I mean?
This is the paddling pool of his crimes.
This is really small scale shit compared to the rest of the stuff he's in the process of doing. But still, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Quote again, the BBC, "Street then challenged Musk to roll up his sleeves and help tackle violence against women on online platforms." Yeah, he's going to get on that.
Yeah, that was a zinger, that, mate. Like, yeah, you've really owned him there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Online platforms have got a role to play in keeping people safe online, helping law enforcement on the perpetrators of violence against women and people who want to groom kids online. So yeah, not only did he like sort of defend, yes, he did defend Jess Phillips, but then proceeded to, you know, say, yeah, you shouldn't have said, you know, like, you should incite violence against my colleague in office, but you are right about the substance of everything you say, and, you know, we'll be right on that, Mr. Musk. Meanwhile, of course, on the other side of the fence, the Tories just, like, because they are now just like fully. I think the only function the Tory party can like systematically have at this point is to just like look at the worst of like your Facebook dad's post and just like make it official policy in under 5 minutes. This was then, I think this was on Twitter. This was Robert Jenrick. This is a quote, by the way, who is the Shadow Justice Secretary, and came in second or third in the leadership election.
Second.
Quote, that this is a bit from the BBC again. Robert Jenrick said that the grooming gang scandal had started with, and this is a literal quote from him, importing hundreds of thousands of people from alien cultures who possess medieval attitudes towards women.
He's one to fucking talk.
Speaking of aliens, you mean?
I mean, and medieval attitudes. I mean, I haven't had a detailed report of the man's beliefs, but he is like fucking, you know what I mean? He was very nearly leader of the Tory party, so...
Yeah.
I mean, Robert Jenrick famously has no beliefs. Robert Jenrick believes in becoming leader of the Tory party, and if that like means, dressing himself tip to toe in the head of in like the blood of migrants, he will do that. And if the Tory party was different, he would be celebrating British multiculturalism. The man has no fucking moral core or, any beliefs. He just wants to be in charge, and whatever the fuck will get him there. But then, of course, the day after, this was Sunday, so yesterday, but we already got the hints that, this time Keir Starmer himself was gonna come out and was gonna put up a strong defense of, I should again stress, a colleague in his cabinet who, helped put him there because she, was and is part of the group of the people that run the Labour Party and ran and, organised the whole campaign to get rid of Corbyn and so on and so forth. So, an ally at the very minimum. And we were going to be... were told...
she stood against him in the leadership election, so she can't be trusted.
That's also true. But
this is just the fucking her chickens coming home to roost because like she wasn't loyal to like the fucking, you know what I mean, to Mr. Rules at the outset. So
yeah,
I guarantee you that's how he sees it.
But we were also told that Keir Starmer was going to, defend the liberal order, and you can't say such things online. And, I've been reasonably informed that Keir Starmer will soon be the only left voice in international politics if we look at the elections coming up in 2025. So, we were going to get a defense of liberalism and values from Mr. Starmer himself. So... of course, he got, I think it was Beth Rigby to ask the question, because Natch. This is just a little summary I got from, I think, someone at the Times. He did hit back at Elon Musk, but didn't name him.
Oh, well, that's settled that, then.
Asked about Elon Musk's post, the Prime Minister said, "Those that are spreading lies and misinformation are not interested in victims, they are interested in themselves. Those who are cheerleading Tommy Robinson aren't interested in justice. They are supporting a man who went to prison for nearly collapsing a gang grooming case." He then accused the Tories of jumping on the bandwagon and saying they're so desperate for attention that they're amplifying what the far right are saying. So it's like, again, it's like the same thing. It's just like, yes, Mr. Musk, and yes, insane people online, you have a point with regards to, grooming gangs. But there's this report and there's a process, and it's like, I guarantee you could have like the literal reports coming out of your fucking ears. It wouldn't matter, because what matters to these people, like the people who talk seriously about grooming gangs, they're just racists. They don't care if there's 20 reports. It wouldn't matter a fucking word to them. And also, it doesn't matter a fuck to like the Tory party or Nigel Farage, because they want these people on board. So they'll just say grooming gang, grooming gang, grooming gang until the fucking sun goes down.
I mean, let's be honest. Labour want these people on board as well. They'd just like them to be a bit quieter.
Yeah. Well, they're still decorum obsessed. That's like the same reason that like Farage was saying, about the whole like make Tommy Robinson leader of the reform. It's like Farage wants to be leader. I don't know if he wants to be prime minister, but he wants to be leader of a party that doesn't involve like Tommy Robinson, because that's like 3 street thugs. That's like Combat 18 people and like shaved heads and bomber jackets, and he doesn't want those people. He doesn't mind their opinion so much. The decorum is not right.
Farage needs like to fucking the thing with Farage and parties he's in is there's a cycle they go through where they start up and the press give them like infinite free fucking like hype. And, you know, are they finally like a threat to British politics? Oh, yeah, UKIP. Oh, we worry about UKIP. And then like fucking, what was it, the Brexit Party after that?
Yeah.
And then like, and then Reform, and I don't know if there was another one in there somewhere, but it's like the cycle they go through is they start out, they're like, oh yeah, they're speaking for the people who like mainstream politics have like has left behind. And then, you know, by the time like they need to find people for all the seats to stand in all the seats, the party's just full of absolute fucking headbangers, and then like, you know what I mean, and then it's like, well, we had to shut that party down. Now we're starting a new one, free from the baggage of, say, for example, Godfrey fucking Bloom, and like, you know what I mean, we'll start again, and then we'll have a new. No, like it's time to start a new party, free from the baggage of like whichever fucking mad bastard you had last time, and you know, bringing fucking Tommy Robinson into the party just accelerates that process, you know, and it's like. They are riding quite high this time around, so he probably prefer not to have to start over quite so early. That's his only objection to having fucking Robinson in the party.
Well, I mean, it's certainly that, but the other thing is like the Nigel Farage is a one-man band. Like he doesn't want another name,
that as well.
Big name. Like Godfrey Bloom and what was his fucking name? Mark Cadwell. Well, I forget his fucking name. There was that Tory MP who defected to UKIP or its successor party. Bald fucker. Did it somewhat during Brexit.
Yeah, fuck yeah, okay, yeah. I know
That
who you're
guy.
talking about, but I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Didn't
so
he immediately
that guy,
lose his seat?
but like he was a known name, right? He was a face. He'd been on the media before. He'd been on Question Time and all that shit. So like all of a sudden there was this other person in the party that the media also knew and then started going to for like a second opinion about whatever mad shit Farage was spouting. So that was also the end of that party because Farage doesn't like there to be a second voice in the party, which is also, apart from all the other reasons we talk about, why he doesn't want Tommy Robinson. Because Tommy Robinson has his own profile and he doesn't want those people.
True.
But like, so this sort of leads us neatly into the main topic that I wanted to discuss, which is like
before we move on, while we were talking about that, someone on the Discords posted the fucking AI face app in your games thing, suggesting we cover it, and it's like, A, you're too slow, but B, looking at that there, right? Looking at that there, I've just realised it's basically just going to simulate face blindness. Like, it's going to turn every game into a Lego adventure where the only way you can tell the characters apart is their hair.
I love when all of the characters are Scarlett Johansson. It's just great. That's exactly what I want.
I can't wait until, like, you know what I mean, it hits some game where it just, like, fucking turns all of the characters into generic waifu number 5. Do you know what I mean? Like, doesn't matter what, like, you know what I mean, what the character looked like originally. Just, you know what I mean? Like men, animals, robots, just the works, they all become waifu.
Hello, Gordon. What big tits you have?
Actually, you'll just be like that a guy who had himself AI photoshopped into the hole of a million mirrors, because like you'll look in the mirror and you realize that you too are now AI waifu number 5, and it's just like it'll just lead like to a complete personality collapse because you're only talking to yourself in every iteration, because the dog looks like you and the shopkeeper looks like you and the end boss looks like you and everybody looks like it'll just be.
This is an ad break on Podcasting as Praxis. This advert is for the Patreon of Podcasting as Praxis. On the Patreon of Podcasting as Praxis, you will get at least 2 monthly bonus episodes of Podcasting as Praxis, where we discuss lots of topics, including new types of guy, celestial boondoggles, monetising whale shit, and, reluctantly, Scott Paul. You will also be able to join the Podcasting as Praxis Discord, a place to talk with like-minded people about lots of topics, including new types of guy, celestial boondoggles, monetising whale shit, but not Scott Paul, and also, of course, Podcasting as Praxis. If that isn't enough podcasting as praxis for you, the Discord also includes a bonus channel where we post the bits that don't make the final cut of the episodes. Fans of both mediocre and bad podcasting have everything to gain by subscribing to the Patreon of Podcasting as Praxis. You will also no longer get ads on episodes of Podcasting as Praxis. £5 a month will get you all of that and maybe more at patreon.com/ you guessed it, PraxisCast. That's patreon.com/ PraxisCast, the place where we sell Podcasting as Praxis.
Anyway, after that brief diversion, so the main thing I wanted to talk about this evening is another new political party has been launched, timed superbly well right after a general election, to make sure that the homeland is kept even safer than Reform is willing to offer you. The reason I wanted to talk about is not so much about like the party itself, because it's quite transparently like a not real thing that just looks like an email harvesting scam to me.
It's just another publicity stunt from the world's worst cunt, isn't it? Like, really?
Yeah.
So
we're going to talk about like. This is Andrew Tate's new party. It's called BRUV, BRUV, which is...
B stands for bald.
To be sure. And it's just like, the reason I want to talk about it is not because it's Andrew Tate, because I personally don't find Andrew Tate at all interesting. I think he's a cunt and I wish he'd go to prison, but I don't find him interesting. But it's more like, when I was reading this, I almost dare not call it a manifesto because it's so fucking light.
It's a manifesto, actually.
It's a
fucking PowerPoint presentation with aspirations, is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, why is it in landscape? What are you going to print it on fucking playing cards or something? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
But what I find more interesting about it is it sort of like summarizes quite neatly sort of it's like the end result or like the end product of this soup of like online gropers, right-wing freaks, media personalities to fucking Telegraph and Times columnists, hello Melanie Phillips, that have like just been breaking through for the last, I don't know, 5 years, maybe 10 years in some cases, and like where I find this an interesting piece of evidence of like where at least the right wing or the further right wing of British politics seems to be headed towards, or like be willing to openly embrace in a way that they would not have 4 or 5 years ago. This would have been fully beyond the pale. Like, this would have seemed insane, and I think in 2 or 3 years this will be like standard now. And I think partly that's like because the right itself is it's not leaderless, but it's kind of all over the shop. Like, Kemi Badenoch isn't the leader of the Tory party. She's just like, she just exists to do bad posting, but like in interview format, or like she's like a living Daily Mail commentary page. Like that, it seems to be her function.
Yeah.
I also don't think she's going to last for that very reason as well. And like Farage is like floating on top, but it's incoherent and racist. Again, like it's Farage, so the whole thing could like crack tomorrow or not. Like, who the fuck knows? But yeah, very roughly, it's the whole thing. The PowerPoint presentation is an anti-immigration, anti-trans, pro-British, close the borders, hate the foreigners, loathe foreign aid. The shit that you've been served for the last 5 years by your racist uncle on Facebook.
Remember when you had to wrestle the milkman?
Yeah,
That's right.
But
kids in school haven't had strong enough bones to do wrestling since Thatcher took the milk away. So,
well, I mean, among the prescriptions in this, we'll just call it a manifesto because I don't know what else to fucking call it. Is that like,
wank pamphlet?
Is that kids, like boys in primary and secondary school, need to learn boxing and wrestling because that makes them real men. So pretty soon they'll be
a chronic shortage of CTE in the British children's sector.
I mean,
what we need is more kids with fucking head injuries.
Genuinely, yes, that would help these people like and their fucking viewpoints a lot.
Yeah. And
bring back leaded petrol.
I mean,
And
like I said,
watch the country vote right wing like it was always intended to do. You know what I mean? We need to restore the balance of like people getting more right wing as they get older.
yeah,
And the only way to do that is with like, you know what I mean, traumatic brain injuries.
yeah, bring back British beef, but specifically the 90s variety. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, like, I genuinely think that this is also one of the last times I really want to mention the cunt himself. Is like, I think that Andrew Tate is almost like incidental to this product, this manifesto, this PowerPoint presentation. Like, I think it could have been launched by, a fucking, Roman bust account with 1 million followers, or Lawrence Fox would have been a good candidate for this had he, not lost all his money. By defaming people constantly, or like, I don't know, Alistair Stanley or Melanie Phillips or any fucking number of people that we feature regularly on Comment or Commentariat. Rod Liddell could have sort of maybe written this. Not enough references to 70s TV shows. Sorry, that's Richard Littlejohn, but yeah.
I think this all is very specifically him, but at the same time, like the general themes within it are, I agree with you. Like,
they come from
of a wider thing.
Yeah, they come from, which is what I'm much more interested in, is this sort of British right groiper slurry that's just like, that seems to be driving so much, at least in the start of 2025, seems to be driving so much of the conversation. And the other reason that I want to talk about is because, as we've just been discussing about the whole like Elon Musk versus Keir Starmer about the grooming gangs thing, is liberals have absolutely no answer for what's in this. None whatsoever. They are completely lost because they will always underestimate these people, which is everything that's in this is libidinal to the max. It's not like rationally formed, and therefore you can't argue Andrew Tate or the people who take this seriously out of their position with the big graph, or like a briefcase full of evidence, because it's libidinal to them. It's not, and they're going to try their damnedest in the next year or whatever to argue, the facts versus this libidinal thing that you have to feel, which they can't do because they're liberals.
I think what you should do is call the Lib Dems. Like,
yes,
Ed Davey was fucking giving it out this morning about how like Elon Musk's a twat and Starmer should have like fucking, what was it, bollocked the US ambassador or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but like, I think Ed Davey should just batter them, like batter the lot of them. You know what I mean? Because of all British politicians, like the Lib Dem leadership is like the special forces of Parliament, right? Because they're just always jumping out of helicopters with like a fucking, you know what I mean? For a bit. It's like, we're doing a publicity stunt. I'm going to jet ski down this mountain and then like backflip into a lake just to prove that
the Ashdown never dies.
Yeah. Like, bring Willie Rennie out of retirement and get him to just fucking hit like fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Elon Musk and like
one
fucking,
last job.
Whoever else with a giant steel chair.
Lost as the giant parachute that he came down and lands on top of him.
Well, I mean, all I'm saying is Nick Clegg doesn't have much to do these days. Maybe he can volunteer. Yeah, but before we get to the content, which it's what we'll get there. But like, I do briefly want to talk about how it looks, because it looks like fucking dog shit.
It does.
It's slop. It's so good.
Yeah. It's called, like I said up front, it's called the Bruv Party, which, in case you didn't know, it does stand for Britain Restoring Underlying Values.
Uh-huh. Really fucking, do you know what I mean? Really wanted that to say bruv there, didn't he?
Yeah, really fucking stretching it. Clearly, like, ChatGPT, what does a bruv stand for as an acronym? Something along those lines.
Yeah. Please stop saying bald.
Most of it is like it's like the PowerPoint presentation you get written by the first year intern, right? Everything on the left side, on the left side of the page is text. On the other side, on the right, is like a
fucking dog shit AI generated image.
Yeah, but like not even like the most recent iteration. but like,
No, I mean,
you
but
remember
like, there's one on there that really put me in mind of that. Remember when Tommy Robinson tweeted that thing about a D-Day and the fucking image showed everyone getting back on the boats? Just that kind of vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it reminds me so much of like not even the latest iterations of like AI image generations, but of like the first, like back when Bully XLs were being banned. You know, like when everybody had like it's that style, that sort of like soft cartoony kind of weirdness. You know, like just and so many flags. So many image, like every image contains at least 7 flags, and the other ones, you know, all contain at least 12. You know, Tommy soldiers of World War One with the fucking pancake helmets, or the World War Two troops. You know, and there's also the usual delightful, just like unserious AI slop shit. You know, an all-white classroom of identical children learning how to spell responsibility in new and interesting ways. My favorite one was responsibility. While they were also learning about entrepreneurship.
That comes with great power. I will say though, I really hope this becomes a real political party, because I cannot wait to see the fucking cavalcade of dipshits that they would fucking get to try and like stand in seats for this bunch of fucking roasters. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like fucking Farage's party. I mentioned before, Farage's parties are always brought low by the quality of their fucking like. I nearly said contestants there. That's not the word I'm looking for, but we'll go with it.
I mean, it is correct.
Fucking,
like,
yeah, the quality of their contestants.
I've just went on to actually see the source again, because I looked at it on my phone. Just done it on the computer. bruv_2.pdf.
Yeah,
yeah.
I would love to see bruv_1.
Yeah, you couldn't leak that to our Proton mail, you know, if we had one.
Yeah, but no, like, I mean, yeah, just imagine the fucking, like, the fucking gold standard arseholes that would actually register, like, as a candidate for this fucking party. Because Andrew Tate is, like, the Magneto of dipshits, like, a mega level threat, you know what I mean? Like, just, I can't imagine that, like, it would be I mean, obviously it'd be terrible for the country, but on the other hand, like, if you, in terms of Guy Safari, we'd be eating well.
Yeah. Yeah. We would never need take off our pith helmets ever again. Like, we could just fucking live in them.
You want a pith helmet?
It's a harmless Christmas tradition. Shut up.
Now that's what I call progress.
Anyway, some of the main lines from it. I won't go through it line by line, because a lot of it is, like I said, it's just your uncle's Facebook slop, and it doesn't fucking matter. But yeah, just the main headlines, in case you were confused as to what these people care about. The main one is Natch immigration. It's like on every first, second, third, fourth, fifth page, and it's literally like the implication, or sometimes the outright statements, is like, all immigrants are criminals, all of them are coming to kill your children, and at the very minimum they are here to, you know, suck the welfare state dry and thereby steal your taxpayer money, etc., etc.
Yeah. But we can solve it all by having the Royal Navy sink the boats. Oh my God, it's the boats again. Yeah,
I mean, this is. I do have a quote. I do have a quote. There's a quote from that bit. Because not a single one illegal immigrant will arrive, partially because, quote unquote, the Royal Navy will patrol our waters. I mean, he doesn't come out and say and shoot the small boats, but that is, you know, at the very minimum implied.
It's very like fucking. It's very mafioso, like, isn't it? It's like, oh, the Royal Navy will be out there, and, like, you know what I mean. If your boat sinks, it's not our fault if it sinks. You know what I mean? You were out there on the boat. Be a shame if something happened to that boat. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
Fucking-
I have. We'll get to it in a little bit, but I have a quote from it somewhere, like about how
I've got this bit. Is that if you get on a boat, we won't let you
that
in. We
that-
have
the page
no
4,
obligation. Yeah, we have no obligation to save you from that boat, no matter how rough the sea.
huge
shouldn't
fucking
be
blow
on
to
the
P&O
boat
ferries,
in
like.
the first place. Well, first off, wrong. Like that maritime law, which is something that a lot of the people that support you will have very strong opinions about, by the way, like says that actually you do need to fucking render assistance. You fucking idiot.
Especially if the boat has a gold fringe.
Yeah. I enjoy the sign off of this, though. The last two lines are simply, "We do not offer salvation, Prime Minister Tate."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that is preceded by, because I found it, like that's the bit I wanted to mention. You have no rights to our land. Illegal immigration will fall to zero enforced by the Royal Navy. Do not come to our isle. Do not risk it. We do not offer salvation. And like honestly, that's just fucking.
This is not a place of honour. No,
I know.
no esteemed deeds are commemorated here.
Also, where does this cunt live again?
I mean, he's
Don't worry about
in a
it.
Romanian
Don't worry about
jail.
I think he's house arrest again. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, but that line, like that kind of language written in all caps, and that's like one of the few, like, pages of this. It's what 22 pages long that doesn't have an AI slop image on the right hand side. It's like that shit, that language.
Well, you don't want to
doesn't.
overuse it. It's a powerful symbol.
No. You're wrong. It doesn't have. You're not wrong. It doesn't have one on the side. It has one as a background for the entire
No,
slide.
you're right. Yeah. But like that line, that sentiment, that cadence is like that's literally that's the bad guys from V for Vendetta who do talk like that.
Yeah.
Probably
where he got the
For
idea.
the Sephiroth party.
Probably where he got the idea.
Yeah, either that or fucking Starship Troopers. Because the other half of this manifesto is literally like, service guarantees citizenship.
Yeah.
But unironically, like, Sean of all, this is like the people who watched fucking Starship Troopers and said, that's a kick-ass movie, I wish my society looked like that.
Yeah.
Like, and because the other way you see it, again, speaking of fucking Starship Troopers, is, it's the thing again, from your Facebook uncle, which is, crime, specifically knife crime, is not punished now. We will get into it in like a really big way, and we will stop this from happening, and so on and so forth.
This is like if Chris Morris wrote Children of Men.
Yeah.
This is a quote, right, from the section about specifically about knife crimes. Quote. The punishment for doing knife crime will be seen by every Briton every day. Introducing BBC Punishment, a 24/7 live.
See, I think there's an argument to be made here that, like, he has actually done all this as a bit, because he goes immediately from introducing BBC Punishment, a 24-hour like fucking live stream of like fucking old men in like concrete fucking solitary confinement cells to dissuade 15-year-olds from picking up blades. And then the next page is like, we must abolish the evil BBC because it does sex crimes.
The compromise position is to simply move this to Channel 4.
But like, again, that
imagine
bit, right?
the bidding war when Sky wants to fucking, like, you know what I mean, get the rights to all like fucking Punishment League games.
Yeah.
Just to make it legally distinct, they have to put their prisoners in an ISO hexagon.
Yeah. Sky Punishment Hexagon, sponsored by Paddy Power. Yeah, it fucked me.
Yeah.
But like,
Well,
again,
at least in the future,
unironically,
in the dystopian future, Tom Watson's guaranteed a job.
But like this is the unironic version of that fucking would you like to know more interstitial from fucking Starship Troopers where they're like a man caught for crime, sentencing and execution tonight live on all channels.
I mean, it's that, but it's also just like fucking people reading Judge Dredd and not getting it
at all. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like fucking, which is a common fucking trend on the right. Like, you know, like Elon Musk, like a couple of months back, talking about how fucking paedophile butthead from the fucking that was going to be Attorney General. I can't remember, Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
Yes, Matt Gaetz was going to be Attorney General. He is the Judge Dredd that America needs, and it's like, yeah, okay. And then why did he step down? Or like, let's not ask questions about that. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's some of the other big strains across it. You know, like violence is bad except when the state does it, because when the state does it, it's fucking awesome. It's mint, actually. You know, woke is bad, diversity is bad, trans is bad, traditional family values, etc., etc. He's not saying the 14 words, but he's certainly saying the 14 words.
There was a bit in there about like fucking something about like fucking people seeing pornography or something. Like, oh,
yes,
like
that's the BBC. Yeah. The BBC was once a cornerstone of British culture. Today, it's a stain on our nation's name. Some bullet points: sexual abuse scandals, allegations of child exploitation, reports of, in bold, pornographic content.
Yeah.
What does reports of mean? What do you mean?
How did he make his fortune again?
Yeah, don't ask about that.
Yeah, do not ask about that. Yeah.
Well, that just goes back to what I was saying before about, like, you know, Musk and fucking Trump won't be worried about the Epstein thing if they decide to go after Mandelson, because it's just, you know what I mean. The truth is, whatever you say it is, you know, like this fucking prick. Like, I guess the problem with the BBC pornography is that everyone involved consented.
Oof. Well, this is the thing with like that's happening in the US just now. Like some states are like trying to fucking enforce internet age verification and that kind of stuff, and Pornhub's just went, nope, okay, well, you can't get us in that fucking state anymore. Fuck you, we're not doing that shit, because obviously.
Good time to get a fucking sponsorship from NordVPN, I guess. Like, can we look into
that? Yeah. It's quality that, like, you know, porn websites have more care for your own fucking, like, privacy than the state does. That's probably the sign of a healthy society and nothing to worry about.
Yeah. My other favourite bit about like him rattling on about the BBC is that saying like to restore trust in the BBC, like the BBC must in future get its topics from X, the Everything app. And it's like, they already do. Like half the fucking shit you see on Twitter, you see on the fucking, you know, 6 o'clock news every night. That's kind of how it's been working for a long time.
It used to be they would check dailymail.com. Now they've cut that middleman out.
Yeah, like, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, just one more bit about the like the fucking, you know, the state violence and stuff, because you know, of course, instant deportation for any foreigner doing crimes in the country, but also
that comes up like 3 times for fuck's sake.
Every other page, I think, yeah. But like the other one was like, we will put 25,000 plainclothes officers in London alone, and it's just like,
sure you will.
But apart from the practical realities of that is not happening, like that's more of like, for me, again, just to divorce it from Andrew Tate, is that the people who produce this and who take this seriously are like, don't live in London, because if you lived in London, you would see that, you know, you don't actually get stabbed on every street corner. These are like the people who live an hour outside or 2 hours outside London, who've been driven completely insane by GB News and think that it is the rape and stab capital of like the world, essentially. Like it's
to be fair, they thought that shit before even GB News was around. Like these people are just like too online in the wrong places.
100%.
It's true. But it's always been like this, even before like fucking Genghis Khan was elected mayor.
Like on the page before entrepreneurial soap critical thinking.
Yeah.
It's any illegal migrant which is identified by a police officer will be arrested and deported from the nation within 7 days. No court case. What? Like, On
Yeah.
what fucking planet do you think that's something that the country can just get away with? Like, it's fucking insane.
Yeah, but again, like
I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it is beyond fucking belief that that's a thing that you think you can just get. Oh yeah, we're just going to deport people and send them to other countries. We haven't done any checks. Fucking PC dickhead just said that they were illegal, so we didn't do a court case. There's no way to find it out. So bye.
Yeah, but like,
you think any country's going to just accept that person coming into their country?
But with all this stuff, it's like the reality of and the practicality of just doing any of this shit are not relevant, because it's not like, I think maybe in the world of some of these people, like of this kind of like soup from whence this emerges, is like, this is the kind of world that they want to live in and the reality they would like to see. But like, it's all just fever dreams, right? This is. Yeah. It's also why it spent so much time talking about the evils of foreign aid. It's like foreign aid is, again, I think 0.7% of the budget, and they're just pretending that like that alone could like give every child a good education and fix every hospital. It's like they're not engaged with the material realities of it, and the way that you know that they're not engaged with the material realities is because this whole document contains no material anything.
Ensure every street in Britain feels British, with English signage, flags, and traditional architecture. Please do send people to Glasgow to put those English flags up. Please do that. Outside of Govan, it won't fucking work. Fucking
just Georgian buildings, Victorian buildings,
fucking thatched
like
roof.
Yeah, that thatched
roof. Roman
in the
fort on every street corner.
Yeah, make buildings more flammable, I think, is what he's trying to say there.
No, it's just like in the countryside, it's thatched roofs and Jeremy Clarkson sponsored pubs, and in the cities, it's Georgian architecture and I don't know, horse drawn carriages, I guess, and British flags, with a cop and a soldier on literally every street corner, because that's what they're talking about. But of course, because this is a flim-flam thing, and it is written by, a fucking scam artist, to put it at the mildest, the one last practical thing, well, practical, quote-unquote, sort of policy proposal I wanted to drag out of this was, quote, a national Bitcoin reserve. A national
Yes. Finally, we can digitize the mint.
A national Bitcoin reserve will future-proof Britain's economy, giving us a decentralized, inflation-resistant asset that ensures stability. And it's like, yeah, Bitcoin, stability, that's what it's famous for.
Might as well just fucking buy some rare pogs and put them in a fucking bank vault.
Hey, don't fucking mock my retirement strategy, you prick. But because of course, there's only one mention of what the Britain of the future looks like, and it's like, oh no, we will no longer do manufacturing. We'll just have ideas and leadership. And what he's talking about, or what this, the brain slurry that this comes from is talking about, is we'll all just be, self-help gurus. We'll all be helping each other with 500, pound a week brain pills and supplements, and we'll all have our own shitcoin, because that's the way that that's the way these people imagine themselves, because they all imagine themselves in the role of Andrew Tate, of the success-win lifestyle guru who has subscribers. Unlike us, patreon.com/praxiscast.
A chicken in every pot and a YouTube podcast about drinking raw milk in every driveway.
I like the tax bit. That was deeply funny to me.
Oh yeah,
the picture of the book, which looks fairly thick, that says 20-minute tax guide next to the Salvador Dali calculator. A new simplified tax code that can be understood in under 20 minutes. No hidden pitfalls or penalties for getting rich, or success will be rewarded, not penalised.
Oh, shut the fuck are you talking about? Up.
But we're going to simplify tax, but we're going to make a new tax code for cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
It's just another cunt that doesn't understand marginal tax brackets, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Also, if memory serves, again, I'm trying to divorce this as much as I can from Andrew Tate, but didn't he recently get like hit with like a £2.1 million tax bill because it turns out that he hadn't been paying his UK taxes in like forever and a half, essentially. So
Yeah.
you know,
I hope so.
yeah. Anyway, but like you know, that's sort of all I wanted to say about like the actual ideas in this thing, because it's, if you've been online long enough, you know what this is. You've seen variants of this before, but what I find interesting about it is like this increasingly unhinged discourse, which now, because Elon Musk is either the president or the second man to the president, or you know, whatever he is at the moment, and like, you know, threatening to give so much money to like the German fascists and the French fascists and maybe the English fascists, and you know, he seems to be wanting, you know, wants to like make himself kingmaker or fashmaker or whatever the fuck you want to call that.
I mean, he thinks he's fucking God's gift at the minute, right? Because it's like, you know, he got to be best friends with like fucking Donald Trump, who, it's only a matter of time before Donald Trump pushes him down a fucking flight of stairs or something, or has the Secret Service do it at least. Like, it cannot be. There must be a limit to like how much you can tolerate of this fucking prick, like shadowing you from room to room in your own home. But like, you know, he thinks he's God's fucking gift. It's like, oh yeah, I won the election for Donald Trump. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to be fucking in charge of this thing. And then it's like, you know, he copped a ton of shit from his own fucking side, like all shot him in the back for saying that, like, actually,
the visas thing, the immigration thing.
Keep the visas for like fucking clever people. And like everyone just went like, no, you're not. You're fundamentally failing to understand the most important like tenet of white supremacy. And like, you know what I mean? And he couldn't believe that leopards would eat his own face. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, but like he thinks he's fucking God's gift, but he's not fucking giving any cunt money. Do you know what I mean? Like does he seem like the kind of person that parts with money?
I mean, I don't know. He pumped like $250 million into like PACs for Trump's campaign. Like, that's documented. He did do that. Like, he's not above it. And also think like, if you're the world's richest man, and,
but
like
Trump winning got him a bunch of like actual material fucking things.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
What I mean? Like, but like he couldn't find Germany on a map. He doesn't give a fuck what happens there.
Yeah, but on the other hand, like if you're the world's richest man, like $100 million is an insane amount of money to like most people, not to him. Like it's like fucking chump change.
He's not gonna part with it unless he gets something in return. And what have the Germans got to offer him? You know what I mean? You can get racism at home.
I mean, at this point, it's just literal like fucking stimulation. Like, you know, just he's the only person who is like, you know, rich enough to trigger the libs to the point that he can actually destabilize governments. Like that is, you know, maybe that's fucking satisfaction enough. But it's more like, even if Musk doesn't give this fucking money to Reform or to the Tories or to whatever dipshit comes next, or to, you know, Andrew Tate for that matter, like this is just the direction that like the sort of rightward flank, the you know, what you can't quite write in the Telegraph yet. This is where it's heading now. Like, you know, and it's the frontier of almost acceptable discourse, because like, you know, I was just checking like what's going on with the Tories, and like sure enough, this is from today in the Telegraph. Quote, senior Tories have urged Kemi Badenoch to commit to a net zero immigration policy to win back supporters from Reform UK. A former Home Office minister and the longest-serving Conservative MP are among those urging the party leader to freeze all non-essential migration into Britain, i.e. what Andrew Tate is writing in, you know, the form of a Starship Troopers character is like within hairs of becoming, you know, the official policy position of the second largest party in the country.
Yeah.
Like that's, and again, like, I mean, we talked about it before, but like, liberals in general, and certainly Keir Starmer's liberals, have no answer for this, for any of this.
No.
Because they can't tell them, shut the fuck up, you're wrong, because, you know, hero voters and, you know, Trump is business and Elon Musk is a business guy and we want his business in Britain. without a left alternative, without something much more serious and evolved than we're seeing now, like including the Green Party and fucking anything else. I don't know what the fuck, like, I don't want him to lead it, but I also don't know what the fuck Corbyn is doing these days with his, like, independent grouping, or I don't what the fuck that's called again. But it's like, I don't know, man. It's just, it all seems not very well geared to resist this, because this is the dominant discourse. It's like, capitalism is so clearly not working for most people most of the time anymore. Like, the brakes and the restraints that were on this fucking thing post World War II and before the end of the Cold War have, like, fully gone off. Like, you can look at any number of statistics, but, like, we're essentially back in a worse version of the American Gilded Age of the 1920s, in the 1920s and 1930s, essentially. Like, we are at that level, and because it is so uneven and also, increasingly prone to shocks, like those from, say, climate change, for example, and everything just getting steadily worse. Like, people need an explanation as to why their lives are increasingly shit. And this fucking, the Bruv Party is unhinged, and what they're proposing isn't real and it cannot work. But, like, bar the development of something very serious on the other side to argue this is where it's going to end up, because, like, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen with the Labour Party in the next few years, but, like, if this is the last gasp of the soft left liberal that, Keir Starmer is a hard right freak, but, if this is the last gasp of the soft left liberal party, then fucking brace yourself what's coming next, like, Jesus Christ. So, that's happy 2025, everybody. It's been literally 7 days and we're recording this, so, hoping to Christ that the discourse gets a bit better than what it's been since I started checking in again.
Well, it isn't, but, hope springs eternal.
Exactly.
Do we want to do some comment or commentary out then?
Yes, let us ring in the new year with some old favourites.
To thrive in the modern world requires, if not full-scale Sapolskyan determinism, then at least a level of realism about the limits of free will. Pitted against the armies of behavioural experts and food scientists who stand behind every smartphone app and ready meal, frail human willpower stands little chance. Is that comment or commentary?
What? It's fucking word salad.
What? What?
It's a rhetorical what? Do not read that again.
No.
Commentaria? Is that some dickhead in the fucking Atlantic or something? Nah,
yeah, commentariat.
Yeah, that was Damon Albarn in the Times. James Marriott in the Times. Big tech firms know us better than we do. See, he read some piece of shit fucking thing by a scientist and probably misunderstood it, but either way it's wank, because, like, it was the idea that free will isn't real and that everything's just like, like that fucking bit in the Matrix sequel with the French guy where he's like, there is no free will, it's all just like fucking chemical chance or whatever. And it's like, yeah, okay, cool, thank you for that. Because, like, does it really, like, it's like an interesting philosophical point, but does it really matter whether the decisions you make are some nebulous, like, free will that, like, God bestowed upon you, or just the way, like, result of brain chemistry, when at the end of the day, like, you know what I mean, you're only ever going to perceive them one way. Like, it's like that thing about, you can't prove there isn't a teapot orbiting like Saturn. It's like, okay, but if there is, does it affect my life in the fucking slightest? Like, no, shut the fuck up. But anyway, like, this guy got rid of his fucking smartphone because he read a book about free will and then decided, like, fucking hamburgers were evil or something. I don't know.
Right, okay. Is that what crepuscular thought is, or whatever the fuck he said?
Sapolskyan determinism, because Sapolsky must have been the guy that wrote the fucking science article or whatever.
She was my least favourite character on The Next Generation.
Yeah. Right, next one. We shouldn't be surprised how many Labour supporters were involved with PI and the NCCL. Their policies to bring down the voting age and the age of consent point to a very dangerous concentration on the youth of the country in a very perverted manner. Is that comment or commentary? Right?
Oh dear.
I think that's a comment.
Yes. It's pretty public record about the pie stuff. Yeah, I'll go with comment.
Yeah, that was a comment in the Express on an article about that fucking TikTok video.
Oh.
I don't know what NCCL is. Google told me NVIDIA Collective Communication Library, and from context, I'm guessing probably not that.
Yeah.
If only because I can't imagine many Labour supporters being like involved in anything that technical. But
yeah, let's not speculate on that any further. I have ideas, but I'm not going to put them into words.
All right, last one. What I failed to understand was why Plumstead Fire Station scrambled 2 fire engines and a specialist waterborne fire tender to rescue a fox which had become stranded on a pier on the Thames at Greenwich. Turned out the fox didn't need saving after all and ran off when the fire crews arrived. That incident lasted 348 minutes and cost £2,483. Why?
Ugh.
Foxes are vermin. What's wrong with a sniper? Is that comment or commentary?
Oh, fucking hell. Jolly and Mom.
No, he would only engage in honourable one-to-one combat with the fox.
It's only honourable if you're wearing the ceremonial kimono.
Yeah, in his wife's too small kimono, the words of which will be printed on my fucking tombstone because I cannot get them out of my head.
That's got to be commentary.
Yeah, that's commentary.
That was Richard Littlejohn, obviously.
Excellent.
There we go.
Excellent. Another year
Presumably,
I have to hear about this prick.
Presumably, like the fucking fire brigade in Florida just aren't interesting enough for him to write about, so he's got to pretend he lives in London again.
Yeah. The fire brigade that probably deals with like fucking crocodiles stuck in the pipes or whatever. Like, yeah, probably more boring than this lot that
rescuing a fucking crocodile from a tree.
Oh dear. Well, that'll fucking do us, eh? So let us
This is a giant alligator waddling up toward you, hissing loudly, and you go, "What's that?" Has little Billy fallen down the swamp again?
A giant fucking alligator that says patreon.com/praxiscast if you would like a bonus episode or 2 every month.
Yeah. Does the alligator stream?
The alligator has intentions to stream, but unfortunately also has crippling ADHD. So the alligator may appear on Thursdays at twitch.tv/praxiscast, but don't bet on it. Maybe just drop it a follow and turn the notification thing on so that you find out if it does ever happen.
Yeah.
The alligator also sells merch. The merch is cursed. Praxiscast.tmail.com if you want some of that cursed t-shirt shit. And yeah, that'll do us. So bye.
See ya.
Yeah, bye-bye.